guys, today we're going to talk about some colour mixes. So these are my favourite colour mixes. We're going to use Daniel Smith iridescence and all kinds of shimmer colours and specialty colours to create some really beautiful colours. So these are probably mixes you haven't seen on YouTube unless you've been on my channel. So some of them you'll have seen before, some of them are new. It would be nice to have them all in one place for you. So what I'm doing here is just showing you through an old sketchbook where I have a lot of pages of mixing. So this is where I started mixing and learning about colours. Like here you can see is where I started really enjoying mixing the pinks with the browns, and that was Opera Rose with French clay from Rivervale. You can see here I've done some other mixing charts, so more of a spectrum color mixing chart. So I really love doing these as well, and I love all these mixes. So the other thing, and you can see like some of these color mixes I've tried to use as the color palette for a painting as well. So the other thing I wanted to show you through this book as well is that not every page in your sketchbook needs to be beautiful. Some pages are just for you to work things out. So here you can see a lot of color mixes I was working with just blues and purples, and there really are only a couple on here that are my absolute favorites from this whole page of mixes. So along with doing a color chart, I would also do pages of mixing, just your own mixing, how you what with colors that you think would be really nice together, or things that you're thinking about. So here you can see I just did a whole page of mixes of white. So I'll talk a little bit about white in watercolor at the end of the video, but I just wanted to see what all the colors would look like with white. And it does give the consistency of the watercolor and also the sort of effect when you put it on the page a slightly different texture as well. So, and then here is everything mixed with pearl white. So I love to use pearl white, you may know that. And so I did a whole page of mixes with pearl white, and surprisingly not as many of them as I thought were my favorites. But I did have a couple of surprising things, so that's why it's good to mix them out, because sometimes things surprise you. So here is a whole page where I was mixing neutrals and then doing some color wheels and swatching the colors in my palette at the time. So here is a little Winsor Newton sketchbook. It's a cotton one, 300 GSM, so it's a really nice quality sketchbook. And again, I put color swatches in here that I was thinking of and mixing with at the time. So I really enjoy doing that as well. The colors that I'm using at the time, I like to keep a little record of those. So what I've done is I've gone through all my sketchbooks and picked out my favorite mixes from over the last few years, and they will all be condensed into this video. There may be some color mixes that are in some of my color spotlights that aren't in this video as well, but so I do put my favorites in those color spotlight videos as well. But here we're just starting off with indigo and amethyst. So it is a pretty subtle color mix to create a really dusty, beautiful color. And I'm always drawn to these really lavender greys and these dusty colors. So a lot of these mixes will have something like that. So this is the Porphyry Violet Ochre from Rivervale, and Art Graph, the Art Graph sort of charcoal, which is such a buttery, beautiful product. So if I don't mention where something's from, it is probably a Daniel Smith color as well. I forgot to say that. So the next one here is indigo and iridescent copper. So these are both Daniel Smith. So I really love this one. You can't really tell until you sort of see it in the light. When the light hits it just right, it's so beautiful. And I actually love leaving those sort of surprises in a watercolor painting, so that, you know, they just think it's a nice painting and then the light will hit it and there's this surprise of beautiful shimmer. I really love that. So here is as well indigo with hibiscus, and you can, so this is a Daniel Smith shimmer color as well, and you can see how just the subtle variation there on those 3 different blues that I've mixed. So even though you can't see the shimmer at this point, you can see that there is a slight difference in the color tone. And then here, this one is ultramarine violet with the Daniel Smith interference lilac and a touch of the cobalt turquoise. So the cobalt turquoise is a Schmincke color. So this is actually Winsor Newton Cobalt Violet with Daniel Smith Hibiscus. They are pretty similar in tone, but one is a iridescent and one is just a regular granulating watercolor, and I really like the way they mix. Okay, so this one here is the indigo with the cobalt violet. So, and again, you don't have to use these exact colors. I really love it when you guys tell me that, you know, the videos have inspired you to use some of your colors in a different way, or you tell me which colors you're thinking of, you know, putting together. So that is really what this whole thing's about, is kind of sharing and inspiring each other. So this was one of the ones that surprised me on the Pearl White page. So Sugilite is already one of my favorites, and it is already a sparkle because it's from a rock, and it has so it's already an earth tone with a sparkle, and I already love it. And with the Pearl White, it just took on a whole different, softer meaning, and I can use it for shadows, so I really like it. The next one is actually one that surprised me. This was Amazonite and Mauve. So Mauve is also a sparkle color from Daniel Smith, and I was actually swatching a few things. So both of these I was swatching for my sister, and I will talk a little bit about the next one, Sleeping Beauty, Pearl Green and Iridescent Copper, in a little while. It's quite a special one. So then the next one is Cobalt Turquoise and White, and I was surprised about this. I'm not sure why I even put the white in there, but it makes it so powdery soft to look at in the actual, when you're mixing. I think actually I was trying to cover up a mistake on the other week when I did the balloon painting, the hot air balloon, and so I put a little bit of white in to try and get it a bit more opaque, and then I just realized that color was so beautiful. So here we have Sedona and Hibiscus as well. I love Sedona, is like my version of Burnt Sienna. It's a Daniel Smith color, and I just love it. So this next one I discovered when I was swatching out some new colors in my Travels notebook in my TN, and from Chic Sparrow, and I'll show you a little bit more about that at the end. But these are Turner Artist Watercolors, so I got them from Jerry's Artarama, and they are still on special, and I'm using the pale wisteria and the bronze here, so I love this color combo. And this actually started me really enjoying mixing browns and purples. So I have liked mixing the browns with the pinks, but now I really enjoy mixing these like violet earth colors. Thank you for mentioning that in the comments. I know I'm always struggling for that word pairing. So here we have French Ochre and Iridescent Lilac by Daniel Smith. Again, it's a soft and subtle change to the color, and then you get that pop of shimmer when the light is just right. So this next one, I wanted to show this as well because when I swatched out my palette, and I've got Composed Green by Holbein, and I wanted to show you this. This is permanent green with white, so it is easy. Some of the colors in my palette, and we'll talk a little bit about this a bit later, but some of the colors in my palette are colors mixed with white, so manufacturers have already done that for you, and that is what is in the tube. So effectively, if you have a green color in a tube that you like, or that you want lighter and you have white, you can actually squeeze a bit of both into a half pan and then give it a little mix, and you have a colour like composed green. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy that new. Okay, so that is our first page of colours, and they are more the cool colours, I would say, and then this is a page of warm colours. Okay, so the first one I'm going to mix here is Potter's Pink by Winsor Newton and Pearl White by Daniel Smith. So this is another colour that really surprised me with Pearl White, how much I like it, and I use this again for shadows. Okay, so the next one is not what it is written there. This is Azalea by Nibs Pens and Ink. I love this colour. It's one of my new favourites, and let's see, I put it with Jaune Brilliant No. 2 by Holbein and Phantom Fire by Rivervale. I love this mix. I love all these colours. So this one is just the Azalea and the Phantom Fire, and I really like this mix as well, and just using it together like this. Okay, so next we have Shell Pink and Fuchsia, which is one of my favourite ways to neutralise colours into a really soft grey. This is one of my all-time favourite mixtures, so this is Sedona and Shell Pink. I really love this. This one is Sedona and White, and these ones here would all be really good for skin tones. So they're good for highlights on darker skin tones and contours on lighter skin tones. So this one was the same thing, Sedona and White, with the addition of rhodonite, and so it gives that sort of blush colour. It's really beautiful. And so this one is one of my favourites, Shell Pink and Pearl White. So I have made a couple of half pans and I've had to keep filling this up, so I use this quite a lot. Basically just squeeze half of the half pan full of Shell Pink, half with Pearl White, and then you just mix it in the half pan and let it dry. Again, so I really love this, is Opera Rose and French Ochre. Now Opera Rose is not light fast, so I wonder if you mix it with something that's a little bit more light fast, does it retain a bit more light fastness? I'm not sure, but I really love this mix anyway. And this next one is Shell Pink, Jaune Brilliant No. 2, and then it's the Pearl White as well, so it makes it a little bit sparkly. So you can definitely just do the Shell Pink and the Jaune Brilliant as well to give you that, and again, like another variation on a really pretty blush peach colour. So this is another one of my favourites. This is Pink Pipestone from Rivervale and Sylvia from Nibs Pens and Ink. So the Sylvia is a holographic silver, and that is how I found the Nibs Pens and Inks shop. And the pink pipestone from Rivervale, I just love it. It's got granules in it. It's really nice. So this one is Azalea and Peach by Pure Pigments by Alevra. So her shop I ordered from. The quality is really good. You get just a little bit less and the price is a little bit less, so it works out really well, and it's just a really nice paint again. So this next one is Opera Rose Jaune Brilliant, which I love, and then I added the white to it as well, so you don't need to, but I really like it. And again, with all these mixes, you can add a bit more of one of the colours. It'll lean more towards that side of the colour, so I just put a bit more Jaune Brilliant in that mix, and you can see the difference there. Then this is Lemon and Interference Copper. This is the Schmincke Lemon Yellow. It is the coolest one I've found, and I really like it. And then this is probably one of my favourite ways to use lemon yellow with French ochre. So it creates a really nice kind of mustard colour. The last sample we're going to do today is the French ochre with the art graph again. I really love this combo. Okay, so while we are just kind of watching and having a look through the swatches here, I just want to talk about the addition of white to watercolor. So obviously it's something I'm in favor of, but I think you should know that traditionally in traditional watercolor there is a school of thought called the purists, and they do not use watercolor because they do not use white because watercolor is a transparent medium. So if you put color on your mixing palette and then you add water to it, it will water down to a very fine color. So I'll show you that in a minute. And very light transparent. So I think some of the argument is you don't really need the white because you can use water as white. Just add more water. Here also I'm just showing you the colors that we pretty much mixed with in full strength versus the mixes. So obviously I can deepen the mixes up, but someone asked me the other day about how I don't overdo paintings, and I think it's just by not adding too many dark harsh colors straight up. I mean, watercolor is transparent and soft, so you can build it up very slowly and carefully, and you may not need as many shadows as you think, and I think I'll do a whole video on that. But I think it is important to know this, and I just wanted to share and show this. So I'm just going to show a couple of colors with and without white, and how you can get very similar results just with water instead of white paint. I like to use white because it gives a bit of a texture and it gives a bit of something else to the color. So I'm in favor of it, but again, there are so many different schools of thought within art. There's hyperrealism, there's abstract, there's traditional, there's cubism and impressionism. If Monet painted with the soft blended brush strokes of like Rembrandt, we would never have known the beauty of impressionism. So I think there is variety in all of the ways that you can use art supplies. I mean, they always say there's no rules in art, and then they make rules. So I'm in favor of whichever kind of art that you want to pursue, as long as you want to pursue it and that's where you're headed. Or if you just want to use watercolors and just put them on your journal pages. So here I'm just showing you as well. So Compose Green is in the middle. I mixed a green with permanent green and white, and then I added a little bit of yellow to that. You can see that on the other side. So I added a little bit too much yellow, but you can mix a color pretty similar to composed green if that's something you're looking for. And then here is the permanent green with adding a lot of water, and you can see you get that similar soft result. So I just wanted you to know that if you're looking for colors, transparent colors and mixing in that way, that is beautiful. I follow quite a few botanical artists who I believe are purists. They don't push it on you though. They don't, you know, they're not pretentious with it. They just do it because they believe in that skill set and preserving that discipline and that form. So I think that's really lovely, and I really appreciate that, because if no one you know, wanted to stick with that discipline, then you would lose some of the art form as well. So I'm really happy for that. But on my channel, I like to just use what I like, and I suppose how it makes me feel as well. So I've started following a lot of, well, a few new artists that I hadn't known before, and they are mums. They're making artwork from their kitchen or, you know, from home, and that's their studio, and the art is so nice. It makes you feel so happy. It's not necessarily someone who has grown up, you know, being like Leonardo's protege, but the art makes you feel really special and nice. So that to me is what art is all about. And you know, on this channel, this is not necessarily traditional coloring, mixing, or color theory. This is color theory according to me. Like you can see here that I am mixing the violet earths that I really like. So you know, that is the type of thing I will follow, just things that make me happy. I also want to show you here. So on the left are Watercolors. In the middle, the top two are Schmincke, the bottom two are my favorite Rivervales. Then we have the art Artist Loft ones that I started with a few years ago, and then we have Nibs Pens and Inks, my new favorite shop. So all of these colors are so beautiful, and you can use any color at any price range and it will elevate your pages. So you don't have to worry what you have at the minute. Just get a few colors that you like. So I hope I explained that well. I grew up going through music school and music programs, and there's a lot of pretentiousness in, you know, niche programs like that as well, and I just don't like it. I don't care for it. You know, like Andre Rieu is one of the greatest virtuosos, and yet he brought the music to everyone for everyone to enjoy. So that is what I love. Anyway, so let's get back to this. So these are some pages that I did. I was trying to mix up some colors, some special colors for my sister's palette for her birthday. So you can see the top one there, that is Sleeping Beauty turquoise, pearl green, and then iridescent copper. So I wanted to use the Sleeping Beauty just as kind of a nice thing, and then I wanted to use the pearl green because her favorite is mint green, but it wasn't quite, I don't know, something enough. When I added the iridescent copper, it went like a mermaid scale color. It was so pretty. So I really love that mix. And then you can see here, I wanted to create just a little palette for her out of these mixes. I haven't actually done that yet, but I think I will do it, and I just really love it. I actually want a palette of these as well. Anyway, it's getting late. The washing machine's on in the other room, and so I'm just gonna let you watch the rest of the footage. So there's some close-ups of the colors so you can kind of see the sparkle in it, and the reason that I really enjoy using the sparkles, because it is such a really nice thing when you see that and you get that surprise sparkle. There's also a snippet of the colours being swatched in my Chic Sparrow. I love to swatch things in my sort of commonplace book in there, and then just showing you my other palette, and also it's kind of a little paper pad. So I just got some of those book rings from Walmart, and it's mostly on the paper from Walmart, the watercolor paper, a bunch of mixes and things that I've just kind of made into a pad. So I'll show you some footage of that as well. That's just an idea of how you can keep some of your colors or some of you know, your drafts or pieces. But anyway guys, I hope this finds you well. Sorry it's taken me a few extra days to get this up. I seem to be behind in everything. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.